Hello everybody, I'm here to share my latest journal, and it's sewing themed, but it's more than just sewing. I made this journal for a friend of a friend for her birthday, and it's I call it a look book, because we don't know if she likes to journal. So I made the journal to let her get inspired, enjoy the beautiful pages, embellishments I made. So just like an art piece that you can really enjoy just flipping through. It's fabric covered, a soft cover, a chiffon binding, a very old antique button to hold it closed. I used some sewing embellishments. I made a tassel with all kinds of laces and ribbons and some charms. A small with the yarn on it. I don't know what it's called. A spool. And this one, a thimble, I think it's called. It has 2 signatures sewn in. And the cover is fabric, batting, and cardstock, and then fabric on the inside again. With my friend I chose for all kinds of things she knows her friend likes. So her friend likes King Louis dresses. So I bought a second-hand King Louis dress and made the cover out of it. And there are more items, the labels in the dress I used, because then we know she will like it. And all kinds of beautiful pages we hope she'll enjoy when she flips through this book. This is the inside of the label of the dress. I made a letter from the bookmaker because maybe she likes to journal, and I explained a bit what junk journaling is, why we make such heavily embellished books. Some like it, some don't. For everybody there's a group, and for them to enjoy and get inspiration from. Most pages I posted, but this is for the overall effect. I used, of course, because it's sewing themed, I used a lot of fabrics and laces and trims, but it's not just sewing, it has also embroidery, knitting, crochet, all that kind of thing. In the Netherlands we have one collective word for all these crafts, and it's handwerken, but I couldn't find a good translation in English, so that's the theme of this journal. This is really old. I got it once in a Happy Mail, so I used it on this collage. This is a ledger page, and I fussy cut an old image of an old of a vintage lady in a dress. I used various digitals. I will put them in the description box because offhand I can't remember which one. This is from an old sewing book, Learning How to Sew. Here I made just a sample idea of threads, woolen threads. I thought it looked nice next to the magazine page of wool. On the back side I made a pocket, also from the book, which covered all sorts of handicrafts, so also knitting. And I took a page out of the book where they showed all the knitting needles and supplies goes in here. This is also from a digital, and on a lot of pages I used crochet trims or lace trims. This is an image I found online, and I found it so cute that there were all in the making with fabrics, so it was very appropriate. A music page also to show the one who's getting this journal. That's the way we use up old pages and recycle, so it fits the junk journal community. With a piece of the digital I made a pocket. Inside there's a tag with a lot of fabric and laces, a ruffle, fabric ruffle, and on the back, if she would like to journal, she can. Also the girl is knitting, so I tried really try to stay in the theme. This is a spool, I think. Lost for words a little. This is also from the old book about, amongst other crafts, embroidery, so I thought that suited well here. When I was a bit younger, I had my own business in designing children's clothes, and I made patterns for people who like to make the children's clothes at home. And this was my first course, a piece of my first course I took in Germany. So I thought that was nice, something from me personal in the journal. Here, this is scrapbook paper, and I sewed on the buttons as a button card. And my friend told me her friend really loves beautiful pages, so I incorporated a lot of pages which are beautiful to look at. Little snippet of fabric and laces. This also very beautiful page. This is from a costume book I used to have when I was in school, to learn to sew and to run a business in the fashion world. So I took pages out of that book. This is coffee dyed paper, because that's also part of the journals, and on that I sewed on fabric. I sewed little swatches of fabric and centimeter trim. I think it's a nice combination. This is also one of my own designs, my pattern. I thought it was a personal touch to put it in this journal. This is one of the models I designed and sold in fabric shops. I can't remember how this paper is called in English. To choose your design you want to make, you copy it from this paper. I made it into a pocket with a trim. On this I just made some examples of the various stitches, and it goes right in here. And in here is a large tag. I kept every embellishment in the style of fashion, fabric, handicrafts with wool or fabric. So I think that turned out very well. On the back there is space for journaling if you would love to. It goes in here, and we flip it over. I used some old pictures from vintage fashion. This is from a book, a magazine, when you want to sew yourself. Some examples. This is from an embroidery pattern, and I made a fabric ruffle on it. This is from a very old magazine for embroidery. this is the Dutch word, the combined Dutch word for all the crafts you do with sewing and knitting and crochet and handwerken. It is a very old magazine. This is the other side of the embroidery pattern of an English garden. Here I use the digital, this also from a different digital. I made it into a pocket, and inside I made a journaling card with various pieces of lace and fabric on a receipt. On the back is journaling space. Heavily on the trims and laces. It's my preference, but I hope she likes it. Here again, for the pattern making, use some old pictures. This is a digital. I use this as a tab. You flip it open. Also digitals. Room for journaling. And very old, it's from this magazine. It's an image of a girl wearing a dress. That was in that issue, that month. You could make that dress. It was in the magazine. This is the other side of my own pattern. It was how much fabric you need and the various, how much buttons and elastic you needed, and all the pattern, individual patterns are named, and then there was of course the pattern itself in the bag and how you stitch it together. And it was my logo, my mom embroidered them, and it went in every model we made as a sample. Here I made a large pocket, a side pocket from the digital. Inside also digitals and vintage photos, vintage pictures I found online. This is from the costume book. I made a double fabric tab. Here I collaged because it's beautiful magazine paper, but this piece was blank, so I took it to make a collage with all kinds of items that have to do with sewing. Very broad ruffle from lace. This I showed also on my social media. It's a glassine bag. You can put something inside. I didn't do it now, and you can put something in the back. So if she wants to keep something in the journal, she can put it in there. And I did a collage of laces. In my social media I explain which ladies have tutorials to make these beautiful things. Again, a pocket with some old magazine page. And a little card, Project Life, but it was suitable because of the sewing machine, so I thought, and it went color-wise. Here I made a double pocket from tracing paper. Inside I put some items, it's upside down, some items from the various digitals, and inside is a large stack collaged on the back, or not underneath, and then with lace and a beautiful image and some lace on top, a tab, and on the back writing space. That tucks right in there. The digital, here I used a piece of a digital doily, and inside also a page from that book with all the craftings inside. This also from the book, explaining the wash, labels, again the patterns, how they lay on the fabric, how you have to cut it. This is a vintage embroidered trim, and I stuck it on cardstock to make it more sturdy, and inside there's a card I made collaging, and the skirt is from the patterned paper you use to put on your fabric when you're going to make something. That tucks in here. That's the first signature. Beautiful digitals. Here I put because I knew it was going to be very fat. First I made all the pages and the embellishments, and then I made the cover so it probably would fit. It's still chunky monkey, but most people love that. So I put some trim in the middle. Also a piece of a doily, and this is a double postcard layered with all kinds of pieces of paper, and I really like the idea. And the digitals I all printed coffee dye or a ledger on the back. This is also from the old sewing book. This is from a digital. Again, a vellum pocket with some lace trim, inside a tag with journaling space and a little collaging on the back. Here I made a side pocket completely collaged with fabrics and lace. Beautiful. The lady who had this tutorial makes beautiful things. This is a calendar, an old calendar, and it has the month of January because the lady who gets this journal has her birthday in January. On the back, journaling space, and the trim goes broader so you can enjoy it on this side. Inside this music pocket I just put some ephemera from the digital kits I used, all in the theme. This is something I found in a thrift shop. It was I can't find the name. A small notebook. That lady was learning how to sew, and in the book were all the pages where she drew the basic patterns, the basic forms of a shorts, and this is for a blouse. And here just a little ruffle from lace and a hanger. It's a paper clip. This also how you put it on the fabric. I thought it was suitable for the shorts. This I put in because she loves King Louis dresses, so I found it appropriate to put a page in with more about the dresses. This is just a beautiful page from all kinds of wool, and I made a little hanger with all kinds of little pieces of lace and trim. Some magazine page with embroidery on it on the back side. A digital paper with a lace pocket. I made it more sturdy with vellum, and on this I collaged the pattern paper, needles, and an old piece where there was yarn, sewing yarn on, and a tab on the back. You can journal if you want, if she wants. Here I made a belly band. It's a little tight. And inside I made kind of a postcard, and then I collaged on it with all kinds of items that go with sewing. So the trims and the scissors and the safety pin and the patterns. goes back in here. Also a beautiful page from the book, the Learning How to Sew and Embroidery book for patchwork. Was also a chapter. This I posted also. I made a house from vintage papers and laces and trims and crochet flowers. This is also a simplicity pattern I got from someone in America. She lives in America. Because when you want to buy these patterns here, they're very expensive. This is an embroidery pattern with some lace on. This is a real embroidered doily. I thought it was nice to have some real fabric in here. And the embroidery pattern goes on this side. I made it flip over to make a tuck spot. Also the pattern paper inside, also from the lady who was learning to sew, her handwriting to make a blouse and the things she had to remember. So I put it in here, and this is from a digital. I made a little booklet out of it, and she can journal in it or just enjoy the beautiful digital. This is wrapping paper, and I stuck it on a page from the book, also the patchwork page. But this I found very suitable because it looks a bit like some King Louis dresses, so I found it appropriate to put it in here. This is a very busy page, also wrapping paper. And this is a CD envelope I altered by collaging on it and putting a journal card inside. Goes in this pocket. Also the digital. This is also from a digital, and on here I made a corset, a body, a bodice more, and from a piece of a doily, a very chic doily, I made a dress, a party dress. The other side of the embroidered magazine page and the wool page. This is from a woolen, yeah, it's not sweater. I'm looking for the word. But it's attached when you buy a woolen sweater, it's inside, so I kept it and thought it was funny as an embellishment on this page. This is the other side of the King Louis print I made, and this is from the dress I used for the cover. I thought I'd use it all. This is also from the lady who was learning to sew, another drawing of the shorts. I used the pattern paper and a button. Here a little snippet from a little rose and some lace and the flowers on it. Here a tuck spot with a trim, also from the digital. This is also from the digital. I just embellished it a bit with some trims and laces. On the back is also digital paper. This is also from the digital, but I printed it on tracing paper. I like the effect and the sound, the crinkle sound. And that goes in here. Next page is a fabric tag, a little embellishment. This is fabric, and I backed it with coffee-dyed paper to give it some stability, but maybe she wants to journal on it. And this is a very broad crochet trim with flowers. Some eyelash trim, and this goes in here. Also some King Louis dresses I printed out and fussy cut. And this is an old dress label, but I stuck the name of King Louis stuck on a different clothing label, so to make it as were the clothing label of the dress I used. Also a page from the book, and this is the last page from the digital, and a trim. I made a side tuck. Inside is also a digital with all kinds of antique scissors. Really love this page. And this I made, this is not really tracing paper because it has a little marking in it, but it's in photo albums. The older photo albums always had a protection sheet, and that is this. And I backed the lace with it to make an envelope with a embellishment, a layered embellishment and some trim. And inside is just some ephemera, and also again the month of January. And that goes in here. Also the digital and my logo. And that's it. I hope you liked the flip through. I really enjoyed making this, more than I could ever imagine, because I rediscovered how much I like sewing and using fabrics and laces. So it was a complete joy to make this journal, and I hope Nancy will love it and flip through it with joy. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video and you want to see more, please give it a thumbs up and a like. I love to hear your comments. Always curious of the comments. And for now, I'll say goodbye. See you next time. Bye bye.